just to say personally, I came to filmmaking through, I think one name that was missed out, GP, is Professor Satish Bahadur, who was one of the kind of key persons who brought a lot of sort of weight and body to the film society movement with his understanding of cinema and his generosity in having all these film appreciation courses all over. So in fact, I attended a film appreciation course at Delhi, and that was the very first time actually I was exposed to cinema. And within my college, we started a film society after that, which apparently continues even till today, which is now about 40 years ago. The interesting thing, I think one response I have is how the film society movement has become a kind of movement of resistance, whether it is not only in terms of cinema, but also in terms of artistic and intellectual thought, where, we were all being fed on this Bollywood cinema, often Hollywood cinema. And it was this film society, that movement, that opened us up to various different types of thoughts. And through this, we were able to build an intellectual discourse which creates this idea of resistance to consumerism, to ideas of exploitation, that kind of. So for me, that is a very important thing, that the film society movement, for me, now when I hear what GP has said, and as you said, continuing right till when we filed a case against the barring of showing reason, I think the film society has created a space for resistance, resistant thought, and that is a huge contribution, that there is some space in your life where you can go and you can talk differently, you can see different viewpoints, you can have different ideas put into your way of thinking. So that is one very important thing, that I think that to mark the film society movement as that strain of resistance in Kerala, sort of, not only in Kerala, perhaps even in India, but very much more so in Kerala, is very important. And that has been very, I think, has been very fruitful, because it was for many youngsters one way of expression. When you're rebellious, when you're young, when you're seeing things. I think this film society afforded the film society screenings. I've spoken to so many people, even people like Kamal, etc., chairman, who are now part of mainstream cinema in a sense. They have all got their food and fodder from this film society movement, where you go, you think, you talk, etc. So it was in fact a space that was created for many youngsters. And certainly in Odessa, where I was also personally involved, where you saw how many people. But having said all that, I have a very serious concern, which which GP I mean, you did mention it, but I think it's something we need to take very seriously, and we need to take it very seriously because it has had immense repercussions till today, as far as I'm concerned, on what the film industry looks like in India, in Kerala today. And that is, of course, the lack of women, inclusion of any. And I remember talking to Laura Malve when she came to Cochin 2 years ago. And she said she was also a part of the film society movement in Britain, which was very strong, as you said. And she said she was so angry in their case, it was not participation, but there was no questioning, there was no understanding. And that was the peak of the feminist movement. You can understand that was 60s, 70s when the feminist movement was raging. Why is it that never that question came into our intellectual discourse? Now, that is a very, very serious thing, because what happened is, unfortunately, the Film Society movement created the film's boy club. I must say that is the kind of the base of this boys club, and unfortunately we are all facing this today still. At that point, it is unfortunate that I mean, all these wonderful intellectuals who you've named, right from everyone to everyone, at no point ever did it occur that there is a whole section that is just being marginalized. So that is a very, very serious concern. And I really like to flag this. And I do not know how this history can be corrected, but I think this history must be acknowledged that today the Indian Kerala film industry functions so much as a boys' club because of the fact that when there was this moment for this possibility of change, it was not done. So this is a very important thing, I think, and I think this is a history we need to, not only in terms of including women as members, but it's also the types of films you saw, the discussions you all had around the films. I mean, there was no indication of that at all. Certainly IFFK also, we saw this right in the beginning. There were very, very few women. I have a wonderful memory of standing with Globa Rocha's son. I mean, Globa Rocha, the great Chilean filmmaker from South America, and his son. We were standing in front of an audience in the film, in IFFK, where he was presenting a film. And he turned to me and he said, "Are there no women in this state?" Literally, it was just a sea of men. That has changed. And I think that has changed because some of us women have really pushed this agenda subsequently, that there has to be representation, there has to be understanding of these issues, etc. So this is an important point that we need to, and we need to correct this historic wrong by activities that will be more inclusive, more understanding. And now this does not include only women, not only the gender issue, but all genders and all marginalized bits of society, where we have to look at who do these festivals we talk about, how do we address a population that doesn't have a voice actually. So this is one response I have. Secondly, I think what GP did not sort of mention was how it's very interesting that in Britain and in other countries, when technology became so easily available, when you could carry a simple DVD or a VHS around all over, and therefore the Film Society movement became very strong in other parts of the world, it coincides with the decline of film societies in Kerala, in the beginning at least, in the 70s, when there were all these small projectors, etc. So that is an interesting thing. Why was it that while the rest of the world started with this new technology, became very, very more active, in Kerala, there was a decline in the film societies, and it was only with the setting up of, as he said, of the academy, of such, when there was a concerted effort, that again, the film society movement became relevant. Also, again, to draw from this conversation I had with Laura Molby, she said, the interesting thing that the film society movement also did, which we see in Kerala, is to give voice to people who would not otherwise think they can make films. You see, because there was only this one film institute sitting in Pune. Of course, now it has become much more easier to get a film education, but about 15 years ago, there was not many possibilities to get a film education. But the Film Society movement, through through its discussions, through its screening of films, etc., empowered very many people. As you said, people like, in our generation, of course, there are many, even in the next generation, there are many people who just never went to film schools, but the Film Society movement empowered them to. And I think that was interesting because, as I said, this whole notion of the resistance and all that combined in making a particular kind of filmmaker who was different from just the mainstream filmmaker. And I think that is how people like Kamal, etc., who sort of created a in-between path, came out of it. So this is what I would like to say.